But in reality, the absolute best thing to do to be able to scale your business, to have a long-term plan, is to sit down and figure out who those ideal prospects are. You've got to have a long-term vision for that.
The audience is fortunate to hear this, not only because we are awesome, but because like we are literally in the trenches, like every day, like in 15 minutes, you're getting on a group call with probably 15, 20 clients of ours who have questions about their Facebook ads. Like you're going to dive in.
Rather than, throwing money out at people who don't understand their brand and their core values and who they are and what they're really about, they're bringing everything that they're doing in-house.
All right, what's up, crew? I'm excited to welcome Elizabeth Lytle to the show today as part of our series of highlighting our team members here at Contractor Dynamics, and not only highlighting them, but really digging into some of the commonalities that successful companies have that we get to interact with and we get to work with on a daily basis. We have a really good inside glimpse into hundreds of different businesses in the contracting space, roofing in particular. So we've noticed some patterns, that work and things that don't work and things that help people succeed and things that kind of hold companies back. And so we want to get to know Elizabeth a little bit here, and we want to get to see if she'll share some of those insights that can help us kind of shorten that learning curve and accelerate our progress. So lots of big promises here. What do you think, Elizabeth? Do you think we can deliver on those promises or what?
Sounds great. I'm excited to be here and I would love to share for sure.
All right. Well, awesome. Let's dive right in to just give us a little background as far as who you are, where you are, family if you want, kind of how you got to be here at Contractor Dynamics, what your role is, all that fun stuff.
Sure, absolutely. So like Joe said, I'm Elizabeth Lytle. I am located in Memphis, Tennessee. I live here with my husband and my two children. I met Joe. I'd watched a few of his YouTube videos, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners have. And I met Joe when I was a marketing consultant in my local community. I was doing some consulting for a local contractor here, and I went through at the time, Facebook Ads Mastery program actually as a client on behalf of my client. And then because our visions and our goals aligned, I came on as a trainer just part-time. And I'm now the client success director for Contractor Dynamics and loving it here. I've not gotten sick of Joe yet, which is great. I'm a big proponent of having multiple streams of income. So I've got some other things cooking on the side as well with my husband, some consulting, some real estate, and by far, my favorite and most rewarding job is being the COO of my family, mentoring and discipling my two crazy kiddos. But I'm loving working at Contractor Dynamics. It's been so much fun getting to know so many incredible roofing and other construction company owners and investing in their businesses and learning from them. So that's who I am, a little bit about what I do.
Cool. I love that you brought family into this, the COO. That's cool. I thought Contractor Dynamics was your favorite job, but I guess we'll take number two, to your family. But yeah, the value alignment is huge, and it's cool how it's kind of an organic process from you being a client and part time now running our training segment of our company and being kind of working into that kind of integrator position. So it's been really cool. And I think we're going to talk about value alignment later on in the episode as well, because that's really what everything is based around. So thanks for sharing that. Thanks for kind of giving us a little bit of a background. So going into my the Bobs from Office Space, the movie, what is it that you would say you do here on a regular basis?
Good question. I clean up all of Joe's messes. I get to work really closely with our clients. I am training in our group calls that we do, our group sessions with construction company owners. I'm working hand in hand with clients, building their brands, building their Facebook ads, helping them with their brand across their social media and in their websites as well. I'm working with our other coaches and making sure that we're creating the best processes and content for our clients and working on improving marketing training for the construction industry.
Wow. All right, that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot. I realize once you say it out loud how much you're actually doing. So yeah, right now Elizabeth, just to be transparent, is kind of like in that role where she's kind of playing some integrator pieces and working on the business with me, which is I'm very grateful for, and also like in the trenches with our clients, group calls, one-on-one calls. We've got some new trainers on the team. She's kind of training them, and so we are working on that transition to integrator so that she can focus really on developing more leaders under her, and which is something I'm trying to do as well. So we can enable everyone to level up and enable more of our clients to win and more of our team members to win, which is one of our core values. So yeah, if you have been a client, if you are a client currently, I mean, you're talking with Elizabeth or interacting with her probably at least a couple times a week. We work pretty intimately with our clients, and that's how we help them succeed. So thank you for being such an integral part of our team. We all appreciate you for sure.
I love it here for sure.
Let's start with, I mean, where do you want to start? I mean, I know that, over the past couple of years, we've worked with hundreds of companies and you have a front row seat as to what's going on, not only marketing, but the business as a whole, personnel, sometimes more, things that you care to know about, but you have that kind of front row seat. And I think one of the most valuable things that we can bring the audience today is like, what are some of those common elements that successful companies have, whether it's marketing or other aspects, other attributes. What are some of those things that you've seen, those common patterns that you've seen?
I'll name a few. One of them is definitely going to be the companies who have an extremely clear vision for where they're going, who have very clear core values and a solid buy-in from the team, meaning every individual salesman, everybody who, does labor for your team, whether that's in-house or a sub, everybody that you're working with, admin and out in the field, has buy-in on whatever that vision is so that everybody's clear. That's hands down the most, in my opinion, the most important thing. When you have buy-in from everybody on the team and everybody knows where you're going, everybody's more invested in your marketing, everybody's more invested in sales, everyone's taking better care of the customers, and people tend to have a much better long-term vision for what they're doing, which comes across in your day-to-day work and in your rocks, everything that you're going through week by week, month by month, and yearly. And one of the things that's interesting is I see, this is an industry that has a lot of turnover in terms of both people who are actually doing labor and then in salespeople. And the companies who are able to retain those long-term relationships with people, whether that's with the people, again, out in the field or their salespeople, those are the people who invest inside their company. They're not constantly looking for quick schemes to help them make a few quick dollars. They're investing in their team. They're investing in their people. They're bringing, their marketing in-house. They're investing in their sales team. They're putting their sales team through training. They're making sure that they are showing serious belief and faith in their people. Because as we know, people who feel like the people around them really truly believe in them, they're going to do more. And they're going to stick with you in the times when things get a little rough. And in this industry, for sure, they can in any industry. But belief in your team is super important. So having that long-term vision, whether it's just in your business plan or in these terms, since this is what we're talking about in your marketing, that's extremely important. So, sometimes we'll see people who are, they're out looking for something to give them a bunch of quick leads in so they can run through and make a bunch of sales. And that's fine. And, we can certainly help you do that. However, the people who have the most success year after year after year are the ones who apply the principles in-house over and over and over again. They do it daily. So these are people who are both running ads, paid ads, across their social media, and the people who are building their brand. They're, they've got their gear branded, they've got their trucks branded. They're really fully invested in their brand and they're proud of it. Their core values are all over their offices. They're all over their content that they're putting out everywhere so that they really are a team. They're not just a bunch of individuals out to, make a quick dollar. They're really a true a true team all working together. So, those are pretty broad things there, but hands down, those are the people who find the most success and, in my opinion, keep it long term.
That is awesome. We could end the podcast here if we needed to. Like that's so important. And honestly, something that I have not always like believed myself. It wasn't until recently that we really got clear on our core values, our purpose, our vision, and that I as an owner, I think I had kind of had those things. And at the beginning, it's you don't really have too much of a vision. It's like survival mode, right? You're just looking to sell enough to pay the bills and just keep going and keep staying in business. But then like you have to get to the point where you're thinking more about the future than about the past. And I did that, but like for too many years, I kept that to myself. And for whatever reason, I just kind of had this guard up. And even with the team, like it was like, okay, we're just, you guys like, here's what we're doing, but you guys do your thing. But now I've become over the past few months, like more transparent about, hey, this is the vision. This is what I want. Like, this is what the impact that we can have, that we want to have, and stepped up our communication. I think that, I know that for me, that's helped, it's been a big catalyst for our growth and our team and our business, or the impact we're able to have on our clients. And so if you're like me, you might be out there listening and watching, like core values. Yeah, it sounds like something that, you learn in some textbook in college and sounds good, for other companies, but like, why do I need that? Core values, they help drive like your day-to-day decisions, right? Like,
100%.
hey, we have an issue with client. Hey, we have an issue with a team member. Hey, we've got this question about, should we go to this event or not? Like all these different things. And it's like, you don't have to make those decisions on an island. Like you consult your core values. Like, what should we do? Right? Talk about it as a team. Hey, this event aligns with our core values. Let's do it. Making this decision about this team member does not, like, let's not do it, whatever it is. And so it's like not a shortcut, but it's a framework for making those decisions. And from my personal experience, like it's been transformative. So just to kind of bring it down to ground level from my experience as someone who didn't always buy into that, you might consider it woo woo or something like that, but like it's real stuff. And when your team is aligned around your purpose, and then like we've been, in our content, our public social media content, like including our purpose and our vision, our core values, you attract the people that can help you get there, right? And so we can have a bigger impact, which is what we're all about. So
Exactly.
that's a big one.
One of the things that you'll notice, and people think that maybe your core values and your vision have nothing to do with your marketing and your sales. However, they absolutely go hand in hand, and in your team retention as well. One of the things that you'll notice that's very obvious in marketing is if you take a look at, for example, if you hop onto a business page from a Facebook business page from a company who is really invested in that vision, they've got buy-in from the team, their core values are very obvious, you'll notice that their content is full of people and stories. And whereas a company who is just focused on making the next dollar and getting to the next job, they're talking about jobs, not families whose lives you're changing. And maybe that seems like a dramatic perspective if you're just in the construction industry, but you're working on someone's home. You're taking care of something that people have invested in, and the people in your business are important. So people who've got that long-term vision, whose core values are really, really important and obvious to everybody on their team, their content is different. Their marketing is different. It's, you're not going to see, just a ton of pictures of all of the millions of jobs that you've done recently. You're going to see content that's based around how important your people are, how important the homeowners are, how important your community is. I love to tell this story. My younger brother has been an athlete since he literally could walk, and he played on a ton of different basketball teams growing up, and a bunch of different teams, a bunch of different coaches, and every coach is really different. And one of the teams that he played on had some coaches that were awesome, but none of them were, they weren't necessarily Olympians. They hadn't had outrageous success in their own careers. However, they focused on building up the kids on the team, and they focused on belief. So they worked on fundamentals. They worked on, making sure that everybody had the right form and everything. But by far, the most important thing was belief and teamwork. Those are the things that they worked on. They did things like reading. They made the kids do things that were really different from what typical coaches did. But that team had the absolute most success in terms of wins and victories and championships. And it was 100% because they had the whole team was cheering. They were cheering on everybody. It was a really, really cohesive team. The coaches absolutely believed in everybody. If somebody was down or a teammate was struggling, every single member of the team was encouraged and expected to help that person out. And that transfers over to this industry. You're going to win when your team is invested, and when everybody's, when it's not this cutthroat, who makes the most sales, but encouraging everybody else to win, because you've got to have an abundance mindset in order to win. If you're constantly worried about somebody, undercutting you in this industry, your team is going to suffer. Your business is going to suffer for sure. So, and in marketing too, I think people get worried sometimes. We've had our own clients sometimes ask, they're hesitant to share their content because what if they educate their competition? But you know what? There are enough homes and roofs for everybody to do. And if you're focused on your brand and you're focused on just continuing to do the absolute best job that you can, then you don't need to worry about that kind of thing, because you're going to find success for sure. And that's what we found year after year, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And you rode crew in college, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've never rode crew, but if you've got one person on the boat who's rowing in the wrong direction, literally, then that's gonna screw up your whole operation there. And I played sports all my life, been on plenty of teams, and yeah, you can have a few bad apples that are just drag everyone else down, or you can have a great leadership and have a bunch of average players but really perform well, work as a team. So that's really cool. I like that you brought that or brought sports into it, because it's so similar. Yeah, I mean, that's why we call team here at Contractor Dynamics. I don't like the word employee. Our email address is team@contractordynamics.com, goes to a few of us. So it's just like, it's really that atmosphere, right? You got to live it. On the marketing end, if you're afraid like to put yourself out there to share your trade secrets, like there are not many trade secrets out there, right? Like you got dozens of other companies in your market right now selling the same products, same warranties, probably using some of the same crews. Like in all honesty, you're not very different, right? But what is different is your team, is your process, is the way that you communicate, is the way that you keep your clients up to date on every aspect of the project, and things like that. And so you're already competing with other companies in your market, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, whether you believe it or not. So why not get the best tools to be able to compete at the highest level with the best? And that's going to be, what we're talking about is modern marketing, digital social marketing, communication with your clients, and things like that.
Absolutely.
Did I cut you off? Did you want to jump in with something else there on that topic?
I was just going to say to make it more technical here. One other thing that I see in successful clients is, bringing, obviously if they're working with us, they're bringing their marketing in-house, but across the board, clients and people who aren't clients. I've met so many incredible roofing company owners who aren't clients yet, and they're bringing what they're doing in-house rather than, throwing money out at people who don't understand their brand and their core values and who they are and what they're really about. They're bringing everything that they're doing in-house. In fact, I just met with a new client of ours in Michigan, and they were talking to me about how they're working so hard to bring everybody who gets on a roof for them doing the work, actually, putting the nails in their roof. They're working so hard to build out an in-house team because they want to embody extreme ownership. And I can promise you that company is going to have incredible retention over the years. They're going to be incredibly successful because they're bringing that in-house. They're treating their people well. They're bringing their marketing in-house. They're bringing their labor in-house. Their calls don't get sent out to some random call center, overseas where somebody has to transfer them several times before they talk to a real person who knows what they're talking about. They're building out a room of people who are answering the phones, who are educated, who know about their products, who know about their people, and can connect them with the right person for that project. So absolutely bringing everything that you can in-house, I believe, is another thing that can really create incredible longevity and success in your business.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that? I know the client you're referring to, and they became a client recently after watching our content for a couple years or whatever it is. And you mentioned extreme ownership, which is something they're trying to do. Well, that happens to be one of our core values. So, do you think it's any coincidence that they align with us? And when it came time for them to hire an in-house marketing person, that they made the call to us and said, hey, we want this person to get trained inside your program, and they saw that value alignment. And it really wasn't like a sales conversation. It was more like, hey, what does it look like? What does it cost? How do we get started? That sort of thing. So there's an example right there of core values aligning. So that's cool. That's really cool. And really, yeah, I mean, bring everything in-house just gives you control, right? Like, there's no one outside of your company that cares more about your company than you do. All right, including marketing, including whatever it might be. So that gives you control over your growth, gives you predictability over, having that predictable sales pipeline, predictable revenue, which enables you to reinvest back into your company, whether it's training, whether it's equipment, whether it's whatever it is. So that's, I think, what a lot of companies are after, is that level of predictability. Just gives you a little bit of breathing room and enables you to really create that vision, to really live that vision.
Absolutely.
What are some of like the mindset things that hold people back in terms of really really going all in with their marketing? I know like getting on video is something that holds people back. Like, what do you see as some of the common things that are people get kind of hung up on?
There are probably a bunch of different things I could mention here, but one of the things you just mentioned, that nobody outside of your business cares more than you do, that's one thing that I do see often, is people struggle with the idea of doing the long-term work, and they want a quick lead. They want to buy leads from somebody so that they can complete jobs. And the problem with that is that's not a good long-term plan. And when you can create your own pipeline, again, like you said, you've got control and predictability. So again, one of those things is bringing it in-house. Another thing that I heard recently, I actually heard in a roofing group, somebody said marketing is a scam. Which is funny because we were talking about it on social media, where everyone is and where most people spend several hours a day. And more than likely what that means when someone talks like that is they've had a bad experience with a marketer who ripped them off. And that is a really common thing. They joke about how there's a roofing company on every corner, like in Texas, there's a liquor store and a roofing company on every corner, right? Well, there's a marketing agency for every single one of those. And there are absolutely agencies and marketers who are doing things poorly. But there are also people out there who are doing it well with integrity and who know what they're doing. So realizing that marketing definitely isn't a scam, and that you just have to find the right avenues for your company. And if you have the bandwidth, or if you've got someone who's got that, to bring that in-house if you're able. So rather than, hiring some giant national agency, do the best that you can to bring as much of that as you can in-house, so that you're being authentic and you're being consistent. Those are going to be the most important things. Another thing that I do see often, that a mindset shift that really, really needs to happen, is people will decide, all right, we're gonna get a couple professional videos done, a couple professional photos, and we're just gonna lean on those as long as possible. And while that's awesome, if you could consistently create content that you can then repurpose, that's going to be far more valuable and more likely engaging to the people that you actually want to reach, actual homeowners who have a problem that you can solve. That's going to be far more effective than just having a few expensive, professional videos done and then never revisit that. So creating content. The other thing that I see a lot is people will get into a perfectionist mindset, and they feel like, well, I'm a professional company, so I really need to only put out really polished content. And if you're in the digital marketing space, the reality is, especially on social media, that authenticity wins. So it's much better to, be on a roof and be putting out a selfie video from your smartphone consistently every single day than it is to have one polished video that you throw out there a month. Because in general, the way the algorithm works, works, consistency wins and is rewarded. And more people are going to be able to see your content. You're going to have more visibility if you're consistent with your content. So again, having a long-term vision, building out your brand day after day, making sure you're consistent with that and being authentic. I think one of the other ones too is that I think people are used to, especially in the roofing industry, hopping on Home Advisor, turning on their Home Advisor leads or something and getting, $20 to $40 leads and deciding that that's the best option, when in reality, we know that after time, that's definitely not the best option for sure. And that's definitely not a long-term solution. So investing more in the front end in order to get in front of the right clients, and in front of the right prospects, and attracting the right people, those ideal prospects. So, and some of that means you've got to sit down and figure out exactly who they are. And I think especially when people first start their businesses out, they'll just do business with anybody who calls them, no matter what the call is, if they need a quick patch job or if they need a full replacement or whatever it is. But in reality, the absolute best thing to do to be able to scale your business, to have a long-term plan, is to sit down and figure out who those ideal prospects are, those ideal clients, those ideal projects, whoever that's going to be, whatever that's going to be, and then figure out a plan for actually reaching those people and staying in front of them. So you've got to have a long-term vision for your marketing.
Nice. Yeah, so think on that last point, the Home Advisor deal. And hey, there are companies, and I talked to one last week in the Pacific Northwest, that they figured out how to make the Home Advisor leads work, and they've got a system for it, and they know they said they hate Home Advisor, but they figured out how to make it work. So that's great. So
Sure.
I'm not saying it never works, but like think about it for a second, how you would purchase a roof or a kitchen or a landscaping service, like whatever it is. Like, would you, as a property owner, go to Home Advisor and enter your info and just, get excited to get random phone calls from random contractors who bought your lead? Probably not, right? So like, don't expect your market to do the same thing. Don't expect high quality leads when you're buying them from Home Advisor, which people are putting their information in. They have no idea who you are. You're calling them like pretty cold out of the blue, right? So just like when you're in that, when you're thinking about your marketing, I mean, this goes back to like, it's like something that we teach our kids. It's like, put yourself in the shoes of the other person and think about how they would act and like act accordingly. I think people are just delusional, right? Like it's about, we want to take shortcuts and say, yeah, I just want to buy Home Advisor leads. I'm mad that they don't turn out well, or they're not great, or I just want to run some gimmicky ads. And oh man, I'm so disappointed they're not working. Marketing sucks. Marketing is a scam. Well, it's like, no, like, would you buy something from that ad that you put out there? Like, when's the last time you went on your phone and you saw some gimmicky ad, put in your contact info, and dropped 10, 15, 20, 30 grand, whatever? Probably never. And like, you expect your market to do that? That's a little bit delusional. Just some tough love there, some real talk. So you've got to really understand like who your ideal client is and build a strategy around that. Just want to drive that point home because it's so important. I don't want to see people wasting time, money, and opportunity. Like it's like, don't go down that path. Really take ownership over your ability to generate your own customers. Whether it's social media or not. Like, we're not saying everyone has to work with us. Far from it. Like, I know companies that do $80 million a year, they do nothing but knock doors and they don't do anything on social or digital. Of course they do good work, but they have a great system for knocking doors, and they have armies of people that to go out there and do that, and that's their system for generating their own customers, right? It can be door knocking, it can be social, it can be Google, it could be a combination of those things, which is pretty powerful too. So you've got to figure out a system that works for you to generate your own customers consistently.
Absolutely.
I think you shared some really good tips, and like the audience is fortunate to hear this, not only because we are awesome, but because like we are literally in the trenches, like every day, like in 15 minutes, you're getting on a group call with probably 15, 20 clients of ours who have questions about their Facebook ads. Like, you're going to dive in. We're going to help them look at the data from their Facebook ads, help them analyze and adjust, make improvements, help them make smart decisions around their ads. And like, this is stuff that we're doing every day. And so we're bringing this to you guys as the audience to help you on your journey. Again, we're not going to limit all the mistakes, obviously, but we're going to maybe minimize some of them, maybe, get you pointed in the right direction sooner rather than later, by avoiding some of these pitfalls. So thank you for sharing, Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up is your, I guess, journey into putting out some more of your own content, taking your own advice and getting out of your comfort zone, putting out some of your own content, getting involved in the industry, as far as like some webinars, getting involved in like the mastermind group that you're in. So can you talk about kind of the why behind some of that stuff and what that is and why does that stuff get you excited?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. A big goal of mine definitely is to be more consistent in my own personal social media, for sure. I appreciate that Joe is helping hold me accountable there. Iron sharpens iron, right? I think that social media is a really powerful tool. And a few of the cool things that I've loved about social media is I read this quote recently that you can use social media to impress people or impact people. And it is a deep belief of mine that if I can show up and inspire or encourage or send something out to somebody, that I can't necessarily be in close proximity with, that is going to help somebody out, that's what I want to do. That's, in my opinion, the absolute best way to live, giving away anything that you've got that's valuable to other people. So I want to show up to impact people, and I love to work that into our work because that's what businesses can do as well. I also, again, iron sharpens iron. I think it's really important to be invested in your community, both local for sure, but also the people that you're working alongside, whether that's other marketers, people who are other, marketers or coaches or trainers, or people who are in the industry that you're working in. And because we're working in the construction industry, it's been a very deep desire of mine to get to know other people who are working really hard, working with integrity, in this industry. And so I joined a Women in Roofing Mastermind and have met some unbelievable business owners and marketing managers and field techs who are out doing incredible work every single day and really making a difference in the industry. And the group is full of people who are, just like I said, encouraging each other. They're sharing information. People are hopping on, talking about, hey, I am working so hard to help this homeowner figure out what's going on with this insurance claim. Does anybody have advice? And I mean, women will hop on immediately and give advice to the other women so that they can win. They're really, truly a group of people who are rooting for other people to win. And those are the kind of people that I want to be around. So I've absolutely loved being in that group. Rachel Iverson from SFY, whom we love very much, invited me to that group. And it's just been an honor to be able to show up in that space, to be able to share some marketing knowledge, to be able to learn a little bit more about the aches and pains and the wins and the visions and the excitement of the industry, to be able to get to know this industry better and to be able to, leave some impact there as well. So I definitely would say to anybody who is maybe struggling in their business, get around other people who are working hard, who align with your core values, and learn from them. Read consistently, listen to other people's podcasts, join a group like that and learn from other people and ask for help, because there are people out there who will show up and do that for sure.
I love that. Yeah. Personal note on that. For the first few years of me running my business, like I kind of had this, I thought that my business was unique and I had to figure out all these different things on my own, and struggled more than I needed to in retrospect. But, it's all good. It's all part of the journey. But it wasn't until I got around people that were doing similar things, realizing that hey, the fundamentals of business are the same across, different industries, different businesses. There's other people that are, on the same journey, experiencing the same challenges and problems. And you could probably attest to this as well, Elizabeth, as an entrepreneur. Some of the loneliest times, some of the most down times that you have is when you're going through a challenge and you think you're the only one going through that. And you're like, man, why me, right? And then you get around other people and they're like, this is like a normal Tuesday. Like everyone's going through the same thing, right? It's just that we share, the highlights on social media. But when we're in groups like that, in proximity with people, we can get vulnerable, open up, and then really that's when we're able to connect. And then another thing on that is like you're very intentional about social media and like who you kind of let in, who building out your circle and your groups, and there's people that complain about social media. I think you wrote a post about this over the weekend. There's like people that complain about social media. It's like, well, who built your social media feed? It's you, right? It's like you can stop following any, like I snooze people for 30 days, like every week, at least one or two people. Not necessarily bad people, but just people that annoy me or people that just kind of give me negative energy, or sometimes the people that just kind of, I don't know, I just like don't need, if it doesn't contribute to my mission and my vision, like I don't need it. And so I'll unfollow or unfriend or snooze people. And like you gotta be intentional about curating your own feed because it's yours. Like take ownership over it. Don't complain. It's not Facebook's fault. Take ownership. So I love that you're intentional about that.
For sure. What's funny is that post that I wrote, I saw someone say something like, social media is the root of all evil or something. And I would just challenge anybody who feels that way that it's not social media. Social media is a vessel to be used however we people want to use it. And it can be used for really incredible things, for giving a voice to people who didn't have a voice. It can be used for spreading your awareness of your business and solving problems, changing people's lives. It can be used to encourage and inspire. So it can be used in really incredible ways if you'll use it that way. So yeah, curating your own feed is your responsibility. And it's a privilege because you can be filled up with some pretty incredible things. You can hop on in the morning and and be super inspired by something that you see there, or not, and that's up to you.
Love it, love it. Thanks for sharing. I want to be cognizant of your time. I know we have our group call coming up in 12 minutes, so I want to give you some time to prep for that. And so, you have a few minutes for a little lightning round, have some fun, answer some quick questions?
Sure thing. Let's do it.
So I know you're a voracious reader. What is a current book that you're reading?
I've got one with me. Can't see the title.
Are you actually reading it, or do you? What's that?
I'm reading it right now.
Cool.
Winning the War in Your Mind by Craig Rochelle.
Are you serious? I just finished that this week. Like seriously, like 3 days ago. Like
that's great. I'm in the beginning stages of the book. I was immediately attracted to the title. It's one that my husband purchased a while back. He reads probably more than anybody I know. It was sitting on the shelf and one of those ones that I knew was probably a good one, and I hadn't opened it up yet. And I immediately, after I read the introduction, knew this was the book I needed to read. And the author, was at RuthCon, which I attended last year with the team, and just had some really impactful, incredible things to say. So I know this book is going to be full of some rich content. I'm in the beginning of it again, but yep, that's what I'm reading right now.
That's awesome. I love it. Good stuff. What is your morning routine?
That's a good one. Great question. It involves some kind of movement. It definitely involves some reading, drinking tea. Almost at all times, I've got a mug of some tea in my hand, listening to either some kind of something positive, whether that's like music or a podcast or a book, something like that, and then wrangling my little people because they are early risers.
Okay, awesome. Love it. How about, I know you share a lot of really good quotes on your Instagram, Facebook stories. Do you have a favorite quote? I know that's a really tough question.
Yeah, that is a tough question, but you know what? I actually will just read you a quote from this awesome book that I just started because it's kind of on topic with what we were just talking about, and a really good one. The first two sentences of this book: our lives are always moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. What we think shapes who we are. That's huge to me. I think especially if you're not doing a fantastic job of curating your social media and you're spending a ton of time on it, it's really easy to have a really clouded brain. And if you are not actively taking control of what you're thinking about and, steering your thoughts in a positive direction, it can be tough to not, get down or get stuck in bad habits. So, love that one.
Yes, likewise. Awesome. How about your next travel destination?
The next travel destination, I'm heading down to Birmingham, Alabama for a friend's wedding. And then right after that, I'm heading to Mississippi to do some marketing training.
Ooh, how about that? I'll see you there. All right. Sounds like fun. All right. So one more question, final question. So it's Saturday. It's nice weather out there in Memphis. You've got all your errands are done, chores are done. You've got the day free. What are you doing?
I am either somewhere doing something outside. I would always prefer to be outdoors, or I'm at a Grizzlies game. I am a diehard NBA fan, specifically the Grizzlies, so that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, you could do both. You could be outside during the day and then hit the game at night, right? That would be like a perfect
That's the
day.
dream, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll drop a link to your socials below so people can follow some of your good, insightful content. And yeah, I really appreciate you making the time. I know you got a packed schedule of client work and you're juggling everything that you do. So I appreciate your time.
Sure thing. Happy to be here. Thanks, Jeff.